You can start. Maybe you can start now. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay then, hello guys, I'm Krishna and today we're going to be talking about generating functions and recurrences. Quite a powerful tool if you ask me, one of my favorites. Okay, so how many people have heard of this beforehand? Yeah, you can just raise your hand, that's better I guess. Okay. So if many people have heard it, then I can just like skim quickly over the definition and like some basic functions, if that's fine.
Could
Okay.
you repeat, please?
No, if people are comfortable with it, then I can just go a little faster. I was intending to cover some basic generating functions first. Okay, I'll anyways go over the material once, very quickly if people are comfortable as well. Okay, so this is how it's defined, the generating function of this sequence. So um, so now one one main thing is that polynomial rules apply. So x is not a variable here. It's just a placeholder for the coefficient for the elements of the sequence. And why you take different powers is just so that you can easily say, suppose x cube. I'll keep using this notation. It's not standard. It just means coefficient of x cube in a of x. So this directly gives you a3 and only a3. So this finding coefficients of this of different powers gives you the elements of the sequence. That's why you take different powers as well for the placeholder x, not a variable. So because it's not a variable, we don't have to worry about any of the convergence issues, and so it's just more of a manipulation kind of thing. So we define a of x plus b of x as a plus b of x. What this means is that a of x has the coefficients a naught, a1, a2 for constant x, x squared, so on. This has b0, b1, b2. We define this as adding coefficient wise. So a plus b, the constant term is a naught plus b naught. The linear term is a1 plus b1. This is kind of obvious if it's for polynomials. So it's just this. But important to notice is that it's defined this way. It's not that you could take it that way. It's like more of a definition for now at least. So you're allowed to do this and so on. Okay. And then multiplication ax bx is, so if you want the coefficient of x to the n, so first of all it's going to have all the coefficients, meaning all powers of x, so n equals 0 to infinity. Now what's the coefficient of x to the n? So you could take x to the 0 from here. These are just like big brackets. You polynomial rules apply. So you could take the constant term here, which is just a naught, and then you would have for getting that total of n, you'll have to take this term here. So when you multiply, you get a naught bn x to the n. So this is a naught bn, and suppose you take one from here, so that would be the a1 x term times the bn minus 1 x to the n minus 1, so that it totals to n, and so on. So this you can more succinctly write k equals 0 to n, or r equals 0 to n, a r bn minus r. So let me just rewrite that. So basically this multiplication rule is where generating functions derive a lot of power. Multiplying polynomials is really easy, and the coefficients are given by this expression. This is a finite one. So the way this is very useful is that this might be a sum you're looking for, and you know the individual terms very well. So what you do, you just find ax, bx. This is just ar x to the r. This is just br x to the r. Oh, when I don't mention the indices, it's usually just 0 to infinity. So you can do this, simplify, multiply, and then look for the uh, degree, like the coefficient of x bar n, and then what you get is this, your summation for free. So basically, that's where they're very useful. Okay. So is this clear? Yeah, I assume it is. Um, so the simplest generating function is when ai equals 1 for all I. So this is just the function a equals 1 plus x squared plus so on, which is just 1 over 1 minus x from the GP formula. Okay, so now let's look at this sequence. I just prefer to use I plus 1. You could do I as well, there's no problem. I plus 1 has a special meaning here. So this is just 1 plus 2x plus 3x squared plus 4x cubed and so on, which is very, very clear. That is just this. Because d by dx of x to the n is nx to the n minus 1. So this and then that minus 1. Are people comfortable with, like, I mean, at least like derivative of x to the n? We won't need more than that. Okay. I mean, the derivative trick is just to get stuff really quickly. It helps a lot. Okay. Okay. Then that's fine. Okay. So now we can sum up this just so that it's even more convenient. We'll add a 1 plus here. It doesn't change the value. And this value is just 1 over 1 minus x. So its derivative is just 1 over 1 minus x squared. Okay. So this function here is this. So the generating
Shouldn't it be
function.
minus 1 over 1 minus x
No,
square?
no, 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 no. By the chain rule, there's another d by dx of 1 minus x as well, which is negative 1. It's this. Uh, this term is minus 1, so this cancels. Is that clear?
Yeah, got it.
Okay. Okay. Now let's do the same thing and see what we can get in general. So let's say you want to find this. Okay, we found for power 1 and power 2. So what you could write this as, you could just write it as this. Right? Which is just, so this is clear, right? I think it's just differentiation. Okay.
Yeah.
So this you can just write as 1 by 2 of d by dx of, now this is known, this is just 1 plus 2x plus 3x squared plus so on, which is just half of 2 plus 3 into 2x plus 4 into 3x squared plus so on, which is moving the 2 inside. This you can write 2 into 1 if you'd like. Okay. So on, which is, this is just so on. Okay. And it's kind of clear why this pattern shows up as well. We'll prove it rigorously, but Anyways, if you add nx to the n minus 1, then you have n minus 1, x to the n minus 2, and this 1 by 2 factor will come here, and then you get n choose 2. So for the n minus 2th power. So if you have this, then just by changing the variable, you get this, right? So the coefficient of x to the n is n plus 2 choose 2. Okay. So you could do this in general. You can show that okay. So proving this. Okay, so one proof is just induction. Assume it holds for n minus 1. Differentiate the expression for n minus 1, and then you get that for n minus 2. Another way, combinatorially, is just the LHS is just 1 over 1 minus x whole to the n. Actually, the combinatorial proof is kind of circular because I will want to use this formula later to get something in combinatorics, which I'm going to use here. But anyways, if you think that circle, yeah, that is circular, so you can use the derivative proof to get this. There's no problem with that. So this is just 1 plus x squared, so on, n times. So, suppose you want the coefficient of x to the r in this, which we want to show is this, n is fixed. Now what we have to do is we have to choose one from here, like one term from here, let's say x to the a, one from here x or alpha 1, here alpha 2, x to the alpha n. So we want to choose these alphas, meaning they're just choosing one of the terms. They're all the terms, it's an infinite series, such that when you multiply these, you're going to get x to the sum of all of those. And this has to be r because we're looking for the x to the r coefficient. So each such ordered pair alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha n represents choosing alpha x to the alpha 1 from here, x to the alpha 2 from here, and so on. This gives one unique x to the r term right there, where their sum is r. So the coefficient of x to the r, how many times it comes, is just how many of these alpha 1, alpha 2 to alpha n ordered pairs are there. And this is just the number of pairs, non-negative, one is also counted. So like x bar 0 is r. So you want to know the solutions to this. This is well known, this is just r plus n minus 1 choose n minus 1. All of these are non-negative integers. So everyone's familiar with that, right?
So how is the proof circular? Like it seems fine.
No. The proof is fine now. And this is how usually it's taught also. But the thing is that what I wanted to show is that now suppose you wanted to solve the problem of this. How many ways are there to do this? And like you didn't know the usual stars and bars way to get this. Then what you would do is that all of these are non-negative integers. Okay, wait, I'll actually come to that. I'll build up to that in a bit. Basically, we'll get this result using the generating function. But using the result, we actually prove that that is indeed the generating function. So that's why I said it was circular. Okay. Okay. One more important thing to notice is that if ax is the generating function of this series, so on, and bx is just the 1, 1, 1, so on, which is just 1 by 1 minus x. This is actually an infinite polynomial. It may not look like, but it is. I mean, it's just 1 plus x squared, so on. So now ax bx is like the n coefficient, the coefficient of x to the n is just this. But this is 1 for any of them. So it's just a0 plus a1 till an. Right? So this actually directly gives a proof of one of the identities we saw before. Let's say ai was also equal to 1. So then this value is just n plus 1. Right? So what this means is that ax is also 1 over 1 minus x now. So that means their product, the x to the n coefficient, is n plus 1, which is basically the same thing as saying that the ai is I plus 1, which is how we showed it before, right? By the derivative approach. This is yet another way to prove the general formula, but I'm not going to go into that. That's straightforward. Okay, now for
Which
the
general thing were you talking about?
the 1 by 1 minus x to the n. You can get that in many ways.
Okay.
Okay, so suppose you wanted to do this. This I greater equals 0 just means I 0, 1, 2, 3. Same thing as 0 to infinity. Okay. So suppose you wanted to do this, everybody knows that this is 2 to the n. And like the standard proof is just put x equal to 1 in the binomial expansion. So you could also do it using generating functions. So what you want is, first of all, on the binomial coefficients, um, you can define this as for n and r integers, not necessarily positive. Okay. And why we define it this way, as let's say you want to find the generating function of the binomial coefficients, so that ar is just n choose r for some fixed n. So um, you know that, like, at least till n, so if I write this as a, is just n choose 0 plus n choose 1 x plus n choose 2 x squared, so on, till n choose n, x to the n, plus you have to define however it is for r more than n. So this thing is very well known as this, right? So the other part, let's suppose you take it as 0, then what happens is that the generating function for this is just 1 plus x to the n. So the n plus 1, the coefficient of x to the anything over n is a 0, because this has only till x to the n. It's a convention. It's very useful in the fact that suppose you want this or something like that. It's or let me just say this. I mean, you don't have to worry about a lot of other coefficients. You can just move things to infinity and not uh, it will still be consistent, because this is actually very easy to work with than like the whole thing. So if you just make that as 0, and it's kind of intuitive as well. Like, I mean, you can't choose n plus 1 objects from n. So, and it also works for the coefficient thing. So this is basically why you define as 0. Um, yeah. So now suppose you want this. Okay. So what you do is you write this. You can write this as I equals 0 to n as well. There's no problem, because after that is anyways 0. You can write this as this times 1. So this is your ai, this is your bn minus I. That's how we did it for both series is 1, like in the previous thing, to get the 1 by 1 minus x whole squared, that one. So your ax is just the generating function of these, which is 1 plus x to the n. Your bx is just 1, like all of them 1, so that's just 1 over 1 minus x. So this value, what you want is just the coefficient of x to the n in ax bx, which is this. And to get this is just I mean, just to clear the denominators. Now just expand this stuff. All terms will have, so basically this will have 1 minus x to the something, 2x to the n minus that, summation, over 1 minus x. So if this something is not 0, I mean, then these will cancel, and this power will at most be n minus 1.
I
Because
can't get
initially,
this step. Like, could you repeat?
okay,
This
sure.
will.
So by the binomial, we can just expand this as this, right? This is this. So what happens is this is r equals 0 to n. So for r not equal 0, suppose I just add that case. Oh, sorry. For r not equal to n, this thing is positive, and so these cancel out, right? And whatever r, this is n minus 1 minus r. So this thing is going to have at most 1 minus x to the n minus 1, right? And then 1 minus
What was that most argument?
which argument?
What were you saying about at most?
Could you repeat once again?
Could you repeat the last line? Like, what were you
The
saying
last thing I
after
was
we
just
cancel?
trying to find, we want to show that summation equals 2 to the n, summation n choose I. So for that, we considered these ax and bx, because then the x to the n coefficient is just equal to that, whatever we want, writing it as n choose 1 into I, like n choose 1 into 1. So now we're just like doing the calculations to find the coefficient of x to the n in ax bx product.
Okay.
So just like to get rid of the 1 minus x in the denominator, we expand it this way, and then by the binomial you write this, and then for r not equal to n, plus we write the n when r equals n, this thing will cancel, like it's basically 1 minus x to the n plus n 1 minus x to the n minus 1 2x plus so on till only this term 2x to the n by 1 minus x, correct? This one will become n minus 1, n minus 2, and this one will be a constant. I mean, this n minus all terms except this. This will still have the 1 minus x. And all of these, notice the degree is n minus 1, n minus 2, and so on. So none of these actually has an x power n coefficient. So the x power n coefficient in this whole expression comes only from this last term. This is a constant, this is and the net, like these two x's also contribute to the x, but the net is that this is an n minus 2, this is a 1. Like you can look at it as when this was n minus r and r, the maximum coefficient you could get is from here an n minus r, x to the n minus r, here an x to the r, so totally x to the n. But when you divide it by 1 minus x, you took off 1 minus x factor, all of these become only x to the n minus 1. I mean, they have coefficients of x to the, like they have powers of x only up to x to the n minus 1. And this term, where the 1 minus x didn't cancel, we have to focus on that now. So, so I assume that's clear? Okay.
The right edge is not visible actually,
Oh, the right edge is not visible.
at least on my screen.
Yeah, now it's fine.
Okay, okay, it's fine then, fine. Okay. So, so what we want is this finally. The other terms don't give any x to the n. So mainly the x to the n of the whole expression is just the powers of x, the coefficient of x to the n that comes in this last term, which is just this. Now, 2x whole to the n by 1 minus x can be rewritten as 2 to the n, x to the n by 1 minus x again, and that's just this. Right? So x to the n multiplies with all of these, and all others from this term onwards, when you multiply, you get x to the n plus 1, n plus 2, and so on. and the only x to the n term is this 2 to the n x to the n. So the coefficient of x to the n is just a thing in front of that, which is 2 to the n, and so our
But,
summation is 2 to the n.
but the original function in which we started, the coefficient of x to the n plus 1 and to n plus 2 were all 0, but in this function they are something non-zero. So like why
Where
is this happening?
no, we want only the coefficient of x to the n.
No, but in the original function which we started, the coefficient of x to the n plus 1 was 0, as it was n choose n plus 1, but now it is
No, no,
becoming
no, no, no,
non-zero.
it's not zero. No, like the one that we're looking for, the thing that we multiplied, like what we were trying to find the coefficient of x to the n, that was a of x, b of x, where this is 1 plus x squared, so on, just the generating function of the 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And this was our usual 1 plus x to the n. So clearly there are some x to the n plus 1s, right?
Oh, got it. I messed up it with ax.
And the 1 plus x squared, so on, we just wrote as 1 minus x, cleared the 1 minus x, and whatever we were left with is 2 to the n.
What was
Okay.
the motivation behind this step, like where we do binomial expansion?
Oh, that's actually like the power is that 1 plus x squared plus so on, which if you have to find some coefficient turns into a series. If you just write the 1 plus x squared whole thing succinctly into just 1 by 1 minus x, it's only one term to work with. So that's why we usually keep it that way and then try to get it out of the denominator without converting it back to a series. Otherwise, there's no point, right? I mean, like converting back to a series. So without converting to a series, we just take it out from that. Like that's the main thing here. Like that's why we got it. I mean, it doesn't look obvious that you're going to get 2 to the n, but then this way it works out that. And this is just like a simple example to show what you can do. Like we'll go to more complex ones later.
Okay.
This is just like, I mean, I don't know. Your 25th method to find 2 to the n equals summation n choose I. Okay, anyways.
What were you saying about the 25th method?
No, I'm just saying it's very common, right? This summation n choose I is 2 to the n. Like, people would have seen many proofs, I think.
So is there some book like which contains 25 proofs?
I didn't, no, it was just a joke. Okay. Yeah, okay. So now a little more complicated. Summation n choose I plus 1. I won't bother writing the subscript, I mean, like where I goes from, because after some time it'll all be 0, so there's no problem with that. So I can just write this. Okay, suppose we want to find this. Now, this you write as, of course, it's just standard now, it's just routine. You write this as bn minus I. So the generating function a is just 1 plus x to the n. And the generating function of this, so if b n minus I is n choose I plus 1, then turn I to n minus I, bi is n choose n minus I plus 1, right? Which is just n choose, this is just n minus I minus 1, so it's just this, right? So bi is that, so its generating function is what? Wait, yeah, so its generating function, okay, so this I minus 1, when I equals 0, it's n choose minus 1, which is 0, and y, like again, this is like the usefulness of that convention that you take it as 0. So if I is 0, when you get this n choose minus 1 thing, why it came is because you wrote this as that. Basically, you wrote this, right? Now the thing is, let's say you have r equals n plus 1, which is what happens if I is 0 here. And if you use that, you get n choose n plus 1 is n choose minus 1. I mean, this is kind of obvious that it has to be 0, like we already discussed that. So this is 0. That's why for all other integers, like negative integers, you take that as 0. So this is not a problem at all that it came to be 0. It's just n choose n plus 1 written another way as n choose minus 1. Okay. So the generating function of that first term b0 is just 0, b1 is n choose 0, so on. Okay. So it's just 0 plus n choose 0 x plus n choose 1 x squared. There's one extra x factor everywhere. So we'll just write it as x times n choose 0 plus n choose 1 x, so on. It becomes 0 after some time anyhow. It's just x times, okay, so that's just 1 plus x to the n. So b is just x into 1 plus x to the n. Okay. Clearly you can see the coefficient of x to the I, suppose, is just bi, is 1 from here, I minus 1 from here, so it's just n choose I minus 1, as we had found it by. Okay. So now this summation Sn is just the coefficient of x to the n in AB, which is the coefficient of x to the n in this. So anyhow, everything multiplies by x, so you have to take 1 from here. So this is kind of an obvious property that I can remove the x from here and write a minus 1 here. Because it basically means that here there was an x, you have to take 1 from here, there's no choice. And here you have to take the n minus 1. So just written it differently as just take the n minus 1 from the other one. Right? That's the same thing. Okay. And this is like just obvious, this is just 2n choose n minus 1 by the binomial theorem. Okay. So this is the summation, like you basically got it for free. Of course, these kind of problems, it's easier to do combinatorially. It's are people familiar with how you do it combinatorially?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so basically the same thing. You just write this as n minus 1, I minus 1 so that the i's cancel. So basically from, you have n people here, you have n people, you want to choose a total of n minus 1, which you can do in 2 and choose this. Again, if you choose I people from here in n choose I ways, you'll have to choose the remaining n minus 1 minus I from here in this many ways, which is just n choose I plus 1. So now you multiply these and then sum over all possible I, and that's what you get. Okay, so that is fine. Basically, you can also use generating functions. And of course, for these, normal counting is faster, but we'll soon come to problems that are almost impossible without generating functions. Okay. So suppose you had to solve a plus b plus c equals 10. Non-negative solutions. This is very well known. This is 10 plus 2 choose 2. Now, using generating functions, this is where I was saying it's circular, right? So this is why it's circular. So a can be 0, 1, 2. I'll represent the powers with the values of what a can be. Right? So consider this. Okay. Now, what's the x to the n coefficient in this? Basically, choose a from here, x to the a, choose b from here, I mean x to the b, and choose x to the c from here. So when they are multiplied, you'll get x to the a plus b plus c, which is x to the 10. So basically, each of the solutions a, b, c gives rise to one particular x to the n. And this is just, so basically we want to find the coefficient of x to the n. That's the number of ways, that's the number of ordered triples ABC satisfying a plus b plus c equal 10. Non-negative, so this is like x power 0 essentially. This is just 1 by 1 minus x, and so are the others, so it's just this. And this we know is just summation r plus 2 choose 2 x to the r. That was our claim initially. So now 10, set r equal 10, so it's just 10 plus 2 choose 2. So that's why it's circular, because what we did, we used this just by like the usual combinatorics way, and then showed that the coefficient of this, we basically proved this identity right here from that. So now we're doing the ulta. So that's why I said it was circular. Okay. Anyways, there are a lot of ways you can prove the initial identity, so it's not circular anymore. Like you are actually getting this newly. Okay. So this again is like you can just write down the answer normally, like with this thing. But now consider what happens when I do this. A plus 2b plus c equals 10. Again, 10 is a small number, so people just say b equals 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then in each case, you will just have like a alpha plus beta is something, and that's very easy to find. Suppose I make this, okay? Or suppose I make it n. Now, how will you do? Of course, there's one standard way, which is you move this here, okay? And let me just, for like simplicity, take n is even, n is odd, like you just have to work it out. Cases. So this will just be b equals 0 to n by 2. So for a fixed value of b, there are how many solutions? It's just n minus 2b plus 1 solution, right? And b varies 0 to n by 2. So for each b, this many solutions. Sum over all possible values of b and you'll get the answer. So this doesn't generalize at all, because I can always give you like this. And then if you move one of the terms, you still have something like that to solve again. 5a plus 7c equals something. So basically, generating functions can do all of this in one go. Suppose I have to solve a plus 2b plus c equals, let's say, like 30. Okay. Just for ease of calculation, you can do it general also, it's not difficult. So this can be 0, 1, so on. So represent that as this. Okay. So basically, multiplying generating functions where the values of the variables a, b, c are the exponents, like x power the values, and then you sum them up. And then when you multiply those generating functions, like particular coefficients in the resulting product basically give you like these sums, right? Because the exponents are summed when you multiply the like x power that. So basically you just want x power 30 of some way to represent what these values can take. Then the coefficient of x power 30 is just in how many ways can you get x power 30. Each time you get an x power 30, and for each possible ordered triple ABC such that that condition holds, you get an x power 30 because you get an x power a plus 2b plus c, right? So each time it adds one more, and finally x power 30 of that is basically the total number of ways. And I mean, now getting coefficients is like easy. So you want this, okay? So this is x power a. This you can write this way. It's just making it clear what you're doing. Similarly here, okay? So x power a, x power 2b, x power c. How you manage this? So here's the trick. X is just something. You can call x squared also as something else. It's just that power p now. Okay? So this is just, which is 1 plus x squared plus x4 plus so on as b varies. So why this is true is that 2b can only be an even number. 2b can be 0, 2, 4, 6, so on. So basically from this bracket, you choose a from here, you choose c from here. You have to choose an even number from here because there are only even numbers to choose from. And each of those even numbers gives a unique value of b. Right? So basically you represent this way. And now nothing, there's only calculation. Okay, is everybody clear why this particular answer gives us what we're looking for? We'll keep using this.
Yeah.
Okay. So now this is just routine. 1 by 1 minus x. This is also a 1 by 1. Same thing. This is also a 1 by 1 minus x. This is a 1 by 1 minus x squared. So basically x squared its square, x squared its cube, and so on. Basically this is that. Okay. So now here's a trick. What you want to do is you want to find this thing easily. So if you expand the 1 minus x squared as 1 minus x times 1 plus x, you just have more stuff in the denominator, right? And you're fine if you have a lot of stuff in the denominator and all of them are the same. Like if you have 1 minus x to the n in the denominator, that's really good. You can just move it to the numerator with the n plus r plus n minus 1 choose n minus 1 thing. That's like we already know that. So what you want is you want some same things in the denominator. You already have one of this. It seems very difficult to get only the 1 minus x squared to the 1 minus x without getting some other terms as well in the denominator. But because 1 minus x is a factor of 1 minus x squared, you just multiply this whole thing by 1 plus x squared and you have that. You can just multiply stuff. Numerator, it's all perfect because, I mean, getting coefficients from the numerator is like very easy. Okay. So you have this. So basically you want x power 30 of 1 plus x squared 1 by 1 minus x squared cube. Now this we know. This is summation x squared over r times r plus 2 choose 2. R is 0 to infinity. Right? Notice that this only has even powers. And this is 1 plus 2x plus x squared. So we have to choose one of them, either the constant, the linear or the quadratic, and multiply it by an even. I mean, so that this exponent plus this 2r adds up to 30. So of course you can't pick the linear here, right? Otherwise you won't get anything. There are only even terms there, like even degree. So you won't get to 30 if you add the degrees. So basically you have to choose either this or this. If you choose the 1, then you'll have to choose the 30 thing here, so that r is 15. So that adds a coefficient of this. So basically you're doing 1 into, you're choosing the 1 term here, into x power 30, 15 plus 2 choose 2. Right? You're just trying to find all the x power 30 terms. Plus, if you choose this one, then x power 28, so r is 14, plus x squared into x power 28, 14 plus 2, choose 2. Okay? So basically this gives you x power 30 into 15 plus 2 choose 2 plus or 17 choose 2 plus 16 choose 2. There is no other way you're going to get to x power 30. So in this whole expression, the coefficient of x power 30 is only this much, which is 16 choose 2 plus 17 choose 2. And that's your answer. How many ways you can do that? You can generalize this to, however, if you have 3b, you just take 1 plus x cube plus so on, meaning 1 by 1 minus x cube. 1 minus x is again a factor of 1 minus x cube, so you can just multiply like 1 plus x squared. Always 1 minus x to the n. If you have like nb also, then 1 minus x is always a factor. As n gets larger, it's of course computationally more difficult to do it, but in general that's very reasonable. Of course, be creative and find some other methods if that's faster. Okay. Okay, now moving on to recurrences. So we've seen some power of the thing that all of these, like if you have like 2a, stuff like that, you can manage, and it can also manage stuff like this. I think this is a previous RMO or INMO problem. I think this was a less equal, we'll just take equal. I mean, to solve it a little quickly. Same idea, you take dummy variable and set that equal to 100 there, where this condition is there. Is this a previous RMO problem or INMO? I think it was there. Okay. So what you do for this is you write b minus a is d and c minus b is e, and these are greater equals 0. You have no condition on d and e now, they're just non-negative integers. So write it as a plus b plus e. This 2b. 2b is just 2a plus 2d. We basically have 3a plus 2d plus e equals 100. No conditions on these, they're just non-negative integers. So it's just x power 100 of 1 by 1 minus x cubed times
Shouldn't
100.
it be less than equal to 100?
I think that's the RMO question, but I mean, you can do that also if you want to take less equal 100, then you just add some other lambda and make it equal to 100. So basically a plus b plus c is 100 minus lambda. For lambda some non-negative integer. Then you just have one extra lambda here. This will just become a square. I mean, there's no difference in the process.
Okay.
Now you take like LCM kind of thing. This I guess is now reasonable. Make this and then write this. what 1 plus x squared plus x power 4 and make this 6. And now 1 plus till x power 5 squared and then 6. Now you have this 1 minus x to the 6 whole power 4 in the denominator. So you just. Now I guess all of this is just calculation. People can manage this.
Isn't this very
4 are there.
complicated? Like,
No, actually, you know what? You can solve this in literally like 2 minutes flat. I mean, I'm showing it like this, but when you're used to it, with enough practice, it'll become really fast. I mean, anyhow, how else will you do this? Like, this is faster, right? You could do it by like inclusion, exclusion as well, and you'll see that they work pretty much the same way, but it's just like you don't have to do much work except expanding stuff. Okay. Now what you need x to the 100, right? And this will give you 3 plus 4 plus, yeah, that's why, I mean, just to simplify stuff, I'll take equal to here so that I just have 1 here. I can finish it here then, otherwise it'll take a little longer. So now 3 plus 4 plus 5, this could maximum give some x power 12 something. So, and there's a 1 as well. So now, so basically you have to take x power 88 to x power 100 here. And these are only multiples of 6. So you got to take x power 90, x power 96. Their coefficients you can just read off. R equals 15 or 16, just put the values here. And now, once you know that this is 90, you just have to find x power 10 in this. I'll just show you how you do that. Okay, actually, x power 10 thing, what you basically do is that you find stuff that cannot be part of your thing. Simplify your expression. Okay, I'll just show that. Suppose you have 96. Okay. Suppose you want x power 96 from this side, then you need only x power 4 from here. So x power 4. Okay, so clearly this is of no use, right? And also, now you just have to split this, so write this as this. Might seem like a lot of work, but actually just eliminating stuff that you know will never give x power 4, that kind of simplifies it a lot. Now the rest is x cube into something, so this you want only the x coefficient of. Are people following? I'm just doing it quickly because it's just calculation.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So you want only the x here, so x of this remaining part, 1 plus x squared, 1 till x power 4. And x of that meaning all these x squared, x cubed, this is irrelevant. So 1 plus x here also, this x squared is irrelevant. This is just 1 plus x whole squared. So the coefficient of x is just 2. So you got one of the coefficients already. Okay, now you just have to find x power 4 of this equation. Again, here, these terms, these two will not give for sure because maximum they'll be multiplied to give the cube. So you can remove these. Now you have an x squared common. So 1 plus x squared into x squared. So move this out. This will become an x squared. So you need x squared of 1 plus x squared. 1 plus x squared again. Now this is just a plus b plus c whole square. There's no problem with that. So again, now you can just read off, right? There's going to be 1 from here, 1 from here, 1 from here. So 3. So 2 plus 3, 5. So 5 is the x power 4 here. Multiply that by the x power 96 here. What 18 choose to? That'll just be 5 this. And now just add the x power 90 in a similar way. Okay. So that's basically how it goes. Well, it seems like a lot of work now, but then when you just do it on paper, it's pretty fast.
So if we have to write this solution in a contest, like would it take a lot of time? For example, some things you explained like this x to the power 5 term is not relevant. So do we have to write all this stuff, or like how to write this, or will the solution is generally very long?
No, so here you can just say the x bar 5 does not contribute to any x bar 4 terms. Wherever you have to write this kind of argument where you just take out coefficients, you just write it as it doesn't contribute to whatever you want. You can take that out.
So
And that
like
should be fine.
do these generating function solution contain a lot of text about each step?
No, actually, I mean, of course, the people who are correcting know how it works. So I think there should not be any problem. You can just write one saying that wherever possible coefficients that do not contribute to those are omitted. That should be a problem at all. You just write that and that's enough. He'll understand what you're trying to say.
So mostly we can like skip stuff, the obvious stuff.
Oh no! Don't skip this calculation. Don't like just say it's the coefficient of that in this, which evaluates out to this. Write down that, but you don't have to explain. You don't have to explain the step. Just write down the step, like how you would solve it in rough. Just basically just write the same thing.
Okay.
There's no problem in that. And for like basically the writing, like the English part of it, you can just write wherever possible. You're omitting those coefficients because they don't contribute to x or whatever you want to find. And like here the x bar 8800, just say there's only x bar 6k, so we only take x bar 90 and 96. That's enough. Don't have to keep writing too much. Okay. So now we're going to do recurrences, the other thing that was intended to be covered. Okay. So suppose I say an is 2an minus 1 plus 1.
By the way,
So-
are you following H. Wills generating function book for generating functions, or is there some other nice book also?
Which one?
The generating
Herbert
functionology.
Oh, so there are a few more resources. I'll link them in after the class.
Okay.
Yeah, but that book is also very good, the generating functionology book. Okay, so suppose you have to solve this, or we just do this. N plus 1 equals that. Okay, so how do you solve this?
by taking the characteristic equation.
Right, but isn't that kind of like overkill here?
You can define a new sequence. Like an equal to some bn minus 1. Then
Right. Right. That after that you just correct. Okay, I think you got the point. So basically you'll write this, right? Plus 1 minus 1 that you can check.
Yeah, plus.
So basically when you take this is just bn plus 1, or basically add 1 here, right? And now this 1 comes common. So it's bn plus 1 is 2bn, right? Which is 2 squared bn minus 1. Okay, so this is n plus 1. So bn is just b naught into 2 to the n. So, and that's an minus 1, so you can get an from that, right? Okay. So now, instead, if this was not this one, but if it was this, okay, I'll give you like maybe 30 seconds to see how you do this one. Any ideas?
Or just add n to both sides.
Okay.
Like then you define bn plus 1 equal to
Correct.
2b.
Basically, you get the previous problem by taking an plus n as bn, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Okay, that's correct. So then that'll be the same way as, then you proceed in the same way as you proceeded for the previous problem. Perfect. Okay, that's a nice one. Okay, so first I'm going to show you kind of like a general way to do this. I'm not going to explain it, but this is just so that like you guys are interested. Okay, so I'm not going to tell you why this works right now, but this is a really cool way. Okay. You can verify that this is indeed the solution. So, and this is one really cool way to do this. Not telling how exactly it is, it's basically like you have differential equations, you do have difference equations as well. So this is basically one of those techniques which literally like gives you the answer almost instantly.
I think you basically use just generating functions, right?
Uh, how would that explain the dy by dx?
I am not sure about that actually.
No, so basically what I did is this. If y is like y of n is an, then this is kind of like the slope, it's the discrete version, right? Like if the thing was continuous, it's this, no? So there's some ways to do that as well. And now this is just a differential equation that you solve using some modified calculus rules.
So what is the name of this method?
But this is just called like difference equations. Linear, like you have linear differential equations. This is linear difference equations.
So if I search this on it, will I get relevant material?
I guess 12th NCRT has calculus chapter covers it, right?
Yeah, for if you want to know how to solve linear differential equations, yeah, that is, I guess, very available.
Which calculus chapter?
There's a chapter all by itself, differential equations.
In NCRT or some other book?
Yeah, it's there in NCRT as well. Class 12, it'll be there.
Okay.
But I mean, if you're familiar with calculus, then do this. Otherwise, you'll learn it anyhow. I mean, this that's why this is not like an Olympiad one. It's just something that helps when you have recurrences like this. Okay. So like the method to solve this, there are many methods. Pranav pointed out one method, adding n. There's lots of ways to do it. So the one I want to introduce today solves like more broad. So basically, generating function is like a systematic way to solve stuff. Like if you can solve one stuff using one problem using that, like lots of general problems can also be solved by the exact same way. So basically, this is what we will do. Just do this. So A is this, okay? Multiply x to the n plus 1. Okay. And now sum from n equals 0 to infinity. N is like 0, 1, 2, like integer. This one will be a1x plus a2x squared so on, which is a minus a naught. So basically keep writing this for n equals 0, 1, 2, so on and sum it up. Okay. So a minus a naught equals 2 times this x to the n plus 1, I'll write x into a and x to the n now, you know. This is just n equals 0 to infinity, so it's just a plus this. So basically, if these are easy to find, then generating functions can give you like an instant answer, right? Okay. So now this is actually easy to find. Why you write this is this into x squared, move the x squared out. Basically, so it looks like derivatives. That's how you usually handle like n and stuff in front of like x bar n and so on. This is just x squared n equals 0, right? Okay, so The n equals 0 term, that's just 0 into x power 1, so that's 0. So I can just write n equal 1 to that, there's no problem. So this will just be 1 plus 2x plus 3x squared. This is just 1 by 1 minus x squared if you like by calculus or by whatever we also discussed today. So this term is 1 by 1 minus x squared, there's an x squared in front. So you have a minus a naught is 2a plus x squared by that. This cancels, you get a is negative of this and now whatever you now you can just do this one. Wait, is this the oh that's what there's an x here. 2x minus 1 will come here. Okay? Is that correct? Yeah, that's correct. Okay. So now okay. Given that it looks this way, I'm tempted to just say let's assume a naught equals 1 and find some specific solution because stuff cancel. But that will give a like kind of a trivial solution. That gives the solution for c equals 0 in like the one I solved before. So let's take a naught is 1 and just work out the details, okay? A is and here's where partial fractions help us. Are people familiar with partial fractions?
Are you talking about like
Yes,
writing
sir.
this in or sum of two things?
Yeah, not 2, 3 here, but yeah, like sum of many fractions. Like there's a systematic way to do that.
Yeah, so basically like dividing the denominator things and writing it as a sum of things, right?
Yeah. Okay. So basically you can write this as where A, B, C are constants. Okay, you can write this in this form. So basically this follows from like the theory of partial fractions, which also if you haven't learned, you will learn meaning you'll learn it for sure when you learn integral calculus you will learn this, and either way you can look it up as well, it's not difficult. So now why is this helpful? So once you have this, ABC how to find I'll tell you in a bit, but once you have this, you basically have that this is A, okay, plus C, 1 plus 2x plus 4x squared plus so on, plus B, 1 plus 2x plus 3x squared, right? So your an is just the x bar n coefficient of A, right? So x bar n that will just be A. X bar n this will be n plus 1 that. So plus b n plus 1 plus this will be 2 to the n x bar n, like 2x whole power n plus c into 2 to the n. Correct? So basically you got an is a plus n plus 1 b. I guess now it's kind of obvious that because I already showed you the solution that c is whatever you want. Okay, we took a naught is 1, so now c is fixed. And b is like minus 1 and a is 0. So let's just get that. Okay, are people clear why we need to do the partial fraction thing? Then it's direct, you can read off an.
I didn't get the question. Like,
So like, is it clear that once you get the partial fraction, you're done?
yeah.
Okay, fine. So now all that remains is to get the partial fraction. Okay, so how you get the partial fraction is basically you take this and multiply this to the right. So that basically clearing denominators. So you have 2x squared. I'll just write this more easily. Okay. Now ABC are actually constants. That's the great part. So you put whatever you want. This equation is an identity. Put x is 1. Like usually you put these x values so that a lot of stuff cancels. So put x is 1, left side is just 1. This is 0, this is 0, this is 1 minus 2, minus 1. So b is minus 1 as we already got. Okay. And now put half. This is what? 1/4 plus 1/4. Half equals this is 0, this is 0, this is c over 4. So that's c equals 2. Now a, whatever you put, it will keep getting cancelled. You don't want too much cancellation. One great strategy, just put x equals 0 so that only these constants come there. So x is 0, x is 0 meaning 0. Okay, so this is just 1 equals a plus b plus c. C is 2, b is minus 1, so this is just 1. Okay, so a equals 0. So done. So this is basically how you get the partial fraction.
So is this technique isomorphic to the comparing coefficients thing, or is this faster?
The comparing coefficients thing, really?
Like one way to solve this equation is by just comparing coefficients and writing down the equations.
Comparing coefficients of what?
Like x square ka coefficient and x ka coefficient.
Oh, after getting the partial fraction, you have to do that, no? Like, what's your full approach? I didn't get the whole method you were trying to say. What are you doing from start to finish, given the recurrence selection?
I didn't get it. Could you repeat?
This method is one way. What else were you saying?
So I was just asking, in general, is this method faster or comparing coefficient things faster, like from your experience?
Comparing coefficients as in, that's what does that mean?
I mean, like in this equation, our main equation, we can look at the coefficient of x square. Everything should match the coefficient of x cube, x square, x, the constant.
Oh, to get the partial fraction decomposition. Oh, this is way faster. Just putting values, this is way faster.
Okay.
See, you don't have to expand anything. Putting these nice values just gives everything 0 almost. Right? So you basically can write down the coefficients. Otherwise, if you did that way, the problem is you'll have, see, suppose you do that. The constant coefficient, okay, actually putting 0 is just saying constant coefficients are equal, but if you write this, you get this. What's the x coefficient? X squared something, okay? You can just do it. The problem here is that, okay, you will write this, right? You will have enough equations to solve it. But the thing here is that you have to solve a system. Here you just get one of them for free. Meaning you get the values directly. The system can also be solved. I mean, you just have to do subtraction and stuff. But getting the values is clearly faster, right? Directly.
So can we solve a system of function like linear equations like this, given a linear equation system, or go it into the generating function thing and then solve, or what will happen?
Meaning, you're saying in your method, this one can we get ABC?
No, I mean suppose this was the original question that solve the system of equation. Then is there some method in which we transform this system of equation to this generating function thing?
Oh, you mean write it in reverse and then
Yeah.
put values and then get the answer?
Yeah, is there some
Yeah, you
fast
could.
way like
You could.
that?
You could. There's no problem with that. But the only thing there is that you have to consider what you want to write in there. No? You have to figure out that the system represents x minus 1 whole squared plus x squared equals that thing.
Oh yeah, so that is very tough to do.
So actually, it turns out that there is, like, have you heard of Gaussian elimination? Like, there is like a systematic way to do that, which makes these these equations into these equations. Meaning you can do some operations on your given system to make it into this very nice system that we got from like just putting values.
So what is the name of that systematic way?
That's called Gaussian elimination.
Could you repeat or type in the chat once?
Uh, oh, I didn't see the chat. There's lots of stuff. Yeah, actually, what Pranav is saying, that's a fair point. You can just actually, even I always like, just do the calculation and pair first. You have to also, like, it's kind of ironical, but actually on an INMO where you have like 4 hours to do 6 questions, time isn't sufficient. So, best to do it fast. Okay,
What were you saying? Like in INMO, we should try to do question fast, or we have sufficient time?
Pranav said, right, you can do the calculations directly on the fair sheets itself. You don't have to
But
do it first.
actually, in these days, in most they give only 5 sheet per question, like
You
five
won't need that
sheets
much.
per
There's just
question.
to log on the board. But you know this recurrence, if you want to solve it this way as well, like more complicated ones, this systematic way works better. You can, like, if you're not getting some other, like, meaning the add n idea, suppose you didn't get, just always do this. I mean, it's like if you didn't get some observation in geometry, you can just always do it by other ways, right?
No, like what were you saying about INMO? Like in a INMO, should we write this directly on fair sheet or on rough first? Because the problem is that they give only 5 fair sheets per question.
Like, if you're sure you're going to do it till the end, just do it once. Like, there should be a problem.
Like do it once on fair sheet or like
On
rough
fair,
paper.
on fair sheet.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so now we come to, okay, so basically there are few more things that are superb to cover. One is that you can solve more general recurrences with, like, everybody knows the Fibonacci recurrence, right? So you can do that. You can do multiple. You can do basically like lots of like lots of generating function, lots of recurrence problems. But if people have seen that, that's fine. So that's one thing I could do next. One is the roots of unity filter, and if people are interested, we could do some multivariable generating functions as well. So what's your call?
Maybe multivariable generating functions.
Okay, so people are comfortable with roots of unity filter and like general recurrence relations, how to do. So basically same. Okay, I'll just do one thing. I'll basically show the exact same idea on the Fibonacci. Okay, multiply x to the n. Write this as this x squared n minus 2. Sum from n equals 2 to infinity. So this will just be a. A is like fn x per n summation. A minus f1x minus f0 is x into a minus f1, a minus f0. You can just work on the details. I'm just going to do it quickly. A, okay. Now nothing is there. Just move all the a to one term. One side is so that, and f0 is 0, f1 is 1, so this is just x. So a is just this. Now this this has roots actually, so you can write it as x minus alpha x minus beta and get the roots, and then just do partial fractions on this. It will just become, if alpha and beta are the roots, we'll just negative of that, minus. Right?
how do you come up with these things so quickly? Like, how did you so quickly write this thing?
Practice is most important. Wait, is the screen visible now properly? Sorry, the thing
Uh,
fell.
no, it is very far, and the below thing is not coming.
Okay, wait. Okay, is this fine now?
Like the
The
below
bottom
thing
edge.
is not coming. Yeah, bottom. Yes, see, it was fine a moment ago. Could you just move it?
Is that okay now?
Like the bottom thing is not coming. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. It's okay now.
Okay, so Chirag, that's a very good question, and the answer is yes. But yeah, that's a little. It'll take a little time to explain that. There is though. You should actually look it up, and it's a very nice thing. So basically, you can solve general recurrences by like the characteristic equation. That the characteristic equation way is the same as just the characteristic equation of a matrix, which is also defined. Just look up like characteristic equation of a matrix. Basically, what you do by eigenvalues is the same as what you do by like the normal put like a n as x bar n.
The roots of the characteristic equation are the eigenvalues, right?
Yeah, correct. That's correct.
But then, like, at least the method that I know uses the fact that the Fibonacci matrix can be diagonalized. It's
Exactly. Correct.
so yeah, I don't know. That's why I got curious because I had read about how to use it to solve this, and you mentioned matrices before as well using Gaussian elimination.
Right. So actually, there is in fact like you can do general stuff using that. Um, yeah, just look up diagonalization, and this will be an application, I think, of diagonalization. Like the way to solve recurrences using that. There is like the general proof of linear recurrence is like an is equal to some an minus 1 into alpha 1 plus an minus 2 into alpha 2 like that. That the solutions of that basically work out to be the same as the ones on the like using the characteristic equation of the matrix and like getting their roots which are the eigenvalues. So uh, you should look that up, and that's a very nice question as well. Thank you.
Oh yeah. Thanks for answering.
Uh, so now once you got this, now it's very routine. Just move this x by beta minus one. You basically want one minus something, right? One minus is very important. It's not constant minus. So x by alpha minus one, and then you want one minus that. So just move the thing out. It'll just be this x by alpha minus one minus x by beta, and just move this up. It'll become one plus x by like x bar n by alpha per n, meaning 1 plus x by alpha plus x by alpha whole squared, so on. So the nth term is just fn, which is 1 by alpha minus beta, correct? Because this will give a 1, this will give this 1 by alpha per n term, this will give minus of that, so minus 1 by the 1 by beta n term. And I think the roots are just 1 by 5 and minus 5, where 5 is the golden ratio. So this will come out to be the usual Binet's formula. Okay. So basically you can do general stuff. Just multiply proper like x bar, whatever you want to, and then solve it using the generating function. Do notice that what we got here, a1 minus x squared, this is the exact same generating function or the exact same polynomial you get if you do characteristic equation thing, if you do the eigenvalues thing, you get the same thing, right? And that's not a coincidence. Okay. Uh, this is how you find like the Fibonacci thing, right? Like fn minus 2 minus f. Okay, this is not exactly that, 1 by x if you do, then it's that. Okay. Yeah, that is just because you multiply. Okay. That's okay. So now multivariable generating functions. So basically, what your generating functions up to this point did was encode some an is f of n, and if you wanted to find this, you just find the generating function in one way, and then just compute the x bar n coefficient. But now, suppose you had stuff which depended on two things. So suppose you had something like this, okay, and you want this explicitly, like for a fixed n and for a fixed k. What you do, you take this generating function, where x and y are now different placeholders, and you sum over n and k greater equals 0. Okay, it's like a double summation, right? Basically, you keep n constant first, sum over the y terms, meaning like the x bar n into whatever a n k y to the k summation k, then you sum over n of that resulting equation. Okay. So basically, these are really powerful if you have to do stuff with it. Let's just show the power by trivializing a P6. Okay. Have people seen this problem before?
What's the statement?
I'll tell. Okay.
By the way, why have you proved that prime IMO prime 95 P6?
Oh, that's just IMO 1995. That's what I meant to say.
Okay.
IMO 1995 P6. Let this denotes a set of all primes. Like P is an odd prime. Let okay. Where S of A means the sum of the elements in A. Okay.
Okay.
So basically, this is the statement. Okay, fine. So now we have two variables to think of. We suppose you have a subset A. Okay. There are two things that are useful here about the subset. One is its size, and one is like S of that, meaning like the sum of its elements. So
One
now,
it is size. I didn't get that thing.
no, like in this problem, given some subset, what you want to do is you want to look at its size and you want to look at the sum of elements in it, right? That's what you
Yeah.
want. You don't want anything else about it, no? And you just have to pick those which satisfy those conditions. Correct?
Oh. Okay. So you will write this P2P as 0.
P to P as?
No, nothing. So we are just working in modulo P.
Yeah. I mean, that's not even an issue here. Like basically, what we want to do is we want to characterize these subsets A such that they hold those. I mean, those things hold. How we do that is just say mod A is something and okay. Now, okay, I'm going to consider a generating function. It'll be clear why we took that. Okay, so g of xy. We have two variables to think of. we need to make sure that n equals p, right? And we need to make sure that k is a multiple of p. The gxy is summation nk which equals 0. Where I'll say G and K is the number of subsets A of S such that mod A is N and SA is K. Okay? So what we want is we want G P P plus G P 2P plus G P 3P plus and so on. Correct? That's the total number where it's divisible by that. Is that
Yeah.
clear? Okay. So
Yeah.
we want that, right? So we want some particular set of coefficients of this. Okay. So now again what we have to do, I can generally just write this in terms of variable and then just find this in another way. Okay. Like explicitly. So given an element, suppose you want to choose, okay, let's look at this. Suppose you want to choose a subset of like a1 or of like 1 to n, suppose. Okay. You write this like a k element subset. What this is x bar 0 plus x bar 1. K element. So what's fixed about your subset? The size is k. The n and k are all different from this. I'm just trying to motivate the next step. So you want k element subset of this 1 to n, right? What you can write it as, how many ever ways you can get x bar k from this equation is the number of subsets of the number of k element subsets of 1 to n. Why is this the case? Because there are n of these. This what? What?
The screen's a bit blur. The screen is a bit unclear.
Is it fine now?
Like, could move the camera a bit. Yeah, it's a bit better. Yeah, fine.
So why is this the case?
So could you repeat the argument once?
Okay, so now we want to find gxy differently. Okay? So that we can get that required sum that we want. Now we don't know anything about g and k, we just like define something as of now. We define that something as well. So for that, let's look at a different problem. Suppose you have 1 to n and you want the number of k element subsets of this. So I claim that it's equal to the coefficient of x to the k in 1 plus x to the n. Why? It's because,
Yeah, that's clear.
now is that clear generating function wise? Why it represents that? Not like that the answer is a choose case where it's obvious. Okay, either way.
Basically, each 1 plus x term corresponds to 1 to n from the original.
Exactly.
subset.
Each of the elements in our main set corresponds to each of those 1 plus
And
n.
basically, x ki power 0 corresponds to not taking that element in a subset, and
Right.
x power 1 corresponds to taking to.
Exactly. So let's do the exact same argument on this. So gxy is some product of some 2p terms. Okay. Here our set is 1, 2, 3 till 2p. Okay. Now any element, if picked, what does it do? It increases the size by 1 and it increases the sum of the elements
What were you saying?
Uh, so can you see the screen?
No, we
Yeah.
can't.
We can.
Okay,
Hold
fine.
it.
So we were so any element M if, if selected. Okay, if not selected, then it's just one.
Actually, the screen is very unclear. So, like, could you move the camera a bit again?
Oh, it's unclear. Is that true for everybody?
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, fine. Maybe rejoin if you have any trouble.
No, yeah, now it's fine. Before it was. Okay.
Okay, fine.
Oh,
So
Krishna, try to like try to wrap things up as soon as you
yeah,
can.
yeah, 5 minutes. 5 minutes is
Sure,
almost.
sure, sure. Yeah.
So so any element M if chosen adds one to the sum. Sorry, one to the size of the set, and adds M to the element. I mean to the sum of the elements. Correct. So basically, what it does, we have a G and K that will increase by one, right? And this is this clear? This holds for all. So first is M is one. So 1 plus x y to the 2k. This is gxy. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. Why? Because suppose you wanted a set whose size is n, you will look for the x bar n coefficient. There are two p terms. You look for x bar n, you will take n of those, and you also want the sum to be k. So among those n, you have those different y values. You get to choose whichever ones sum up to k. Okay. So that bit's clear. So now we just have this. Now we want GPP plus GP2P and so on. So basically, you want that n equals p. So first of all, you want x to the p of this, and you want y powers, k is the power of y, which are multiples of p. So here's where the roots of unity filter comes in. Are people comfortable with that? Like they said we could move on. I didn't cover that. Assume yes. So basically, the one side multiples of this are basically is just if alpha is e to the I and if this okay, so basically this is p, sorry. This is the sum of these p coefficients. There's no zero here, notice, because this I starts from 1, so there's no thing. So basically GP0 is 0. So basically this thing is only the whole, including 0 as well. So this is gxp plus gx2p. It's the sum of the coefficients in this such that k is a multiple of p. Is that
Could you
clear?
pause for a moment? Like, why is this to let me see?
Okay.
Actually, I'm not sure why that is true. Like how, like why is p and we are replacing it by some complex number.
Okay, I thought everybody said that they were comfortable with the roots of unity filter. That's basically the roots of unity filter. Okay, so do one thing. Agree on this for now, and you can just look it up. There, it's very easy to show that that is true. Okay,
Okay.
and now these are actually pretty easy to evaluate. Why? Because So basically what happens is, now all you have to do is you want this 1 plus x into whatever alpha power some r into I, right? For y equals alpha power r. So, and you have to take a product, no? So what happens is you just write this as like 1x plus alpha power ri into x. Now you also take a minus and do this. So basically it's minus 1 by x minus alpha power y. So you put minus 1 by x here and everywhere else minus 1 by x. This is just x power p minus 1 by x minus 1, so it kind of evaluates very neatly. Each term will be like that. These alpha power ri's again, you can work it out, but it turns out that because p is prime, that's where we need p is prime. These things cycle. So if like for a fixed r, this r into 1, r into 2, and so on, r into p are in some order congruent to 0, 1, 2, p minus 1 mod p. So that these product of all of them, doesn't matter which one maps to which, it will be equal to minus 1 by x minus alpha alpha squared. Okay, clearly this r into p is only the 0 one. That's a multiple of p. That minus alpha to the 3 minus alpha to the 4 till p minus 1. So basically just put minus 1 by x here. So just, and p is odd, that lets us pull out the minus as well. Okay, I said p not equal to 2. So this just cancels, and finally you're left with 1 by x to the p plus 1 by x plus 1. Right? That's for, oh, again, this whole squared because this is 1 to 2p, right? So 1 to p twice. Okay. Because alpha to the p is 1. So now all that is left is just putting x equal to p. So g of this, all of these for these not equal to 1 stuff will just come out to be this. Right? And now for gx1, there's just pi 1 plus x. So there's just 1 plus x to the 2p. Correct? And for the other ones, it's this. So, okay, we're almost done. So whole of that by p is g of these, all of these. Wait. There was a minus x as well. Minus x to the 2p, so there's just x to the 2p. Okay, great. So we can just move this inside 1 plus x to the p. Okay, with this. Now it's almost done. Basically, you have to put x equal to p in this. And, oh wait, not x equal to p. Don't put x equal to p. You want coefficients like g, xp, not g, xp, it's g, n. N is like x power n, y power p, right? Or like p into something, here p into that thing. So basically, you want gpp, so you need x power p. So you want all those terms as x coefficient, the power of x is p. So you want the coefficient of x power p in this. Till now what you did is you got this. X power n summation over n. Like g of x y is simplified. You got this 1 by 1 plus x power p, blah blah, this whole thing. Okay. Now all that's left is, now these are GNPs, like GNP and 2P. So now basically you want that where n is p, so you find the x power p coefficient. This is not x, wait, what was x? Oh, x is only that alpha there. Okay. Into x power n. So you want the x power p of that, no? Wait. n. Oh, wait. Okay, I must have just misread some variables while doing them quickly. Okay, wait, either way, this is the idea. Once you get the roots of unit filter, you just have to find the coefficient of x bar p in the resulting equation, and that should give your answer. It looks like a lot of work and I made some mistakes somewhere, but it's really short. You can just, maybe if time permits, I'll just, in the server, I'll put a solution to this one. Is that okay?
Yes. By the way, on
But
the I have put the AOPS link in the chat. Could you please tell the solution which is isomorphic to yours, like
oh,
the
you put
post to that?
that problems? Okay.
I mean, I have sent the AOPS link. So could you tell the solution isomorphic to yours?
I think there was one solution. Okay, let's see. Okay, are people actually comfortable with the roots of unity filter, or should I send a link to that, or like just some explanation on that?
Maybe a bit of explanation would be nice.
Okay, it's already past the time limit, so you want me to do it now, or I'll just send a link or something?
Maybe you can just send the link.
Okay, fine, sure. Okay, then that's all, I guess. I'll just look at the solutions and tell you which one is the correct one. Just give me a few seconds.